Lionsgate, I think it's Lionsgate or Artisan Entertainment or one of those, whatever company currently owns the rights to the Blair Witch Project, they have announced that they're going to be doing a reboot of it. There was an article that came across Variety about the original cast of the first Blair Witch Project. Considering that, like, when I started streaming on this channel, I was doing a lot of, like, looking into, I was covering the strikes and everything. And so I have a strong empathy for and desire to advocate for the actual creatives working in film. The actors, the behind the scenes people, like the workers who actually make the movies, not the producers who are cashing the fat checks. And this Variety article came across my desk. The Blair Witch Project actors call out reprehensible behavior after missing out on profits for decades. Don't do what we did. Now, I don't know if I'm going to read the whole thing, but basically, the premise is they were doing an indie film, and nobody knew that the Blair Witch Project was going to be the mega hit that it was, right? It was like, I think at the time, the most financially successful film ever in terms of dollars in versus dollars out, right? I think it ended up making $250 million at the box office. And I'm pretty sure it was shot for less than $100,000. And these three people literally made the movie, because the way that the movie is shot, originally the intention was they were going to do a mockumentary where they're going to use about 10 minutes of footage of them in the woods. And so they sent the three actors into the woods with all of the film equipment and prompts for the story, but it was up to them to operate all of the film equipment and come up with all of the dialogue for the entire film. And basically, while they're out there, they would have other production teams set up things and spook them in their tents and stuff like that, right? But for the most part, the vast majority of this movie was just made by these three people. And they were paid nothing for it because it was an indie project. They were paid I think $500 a week plus, room and board and food. Let's go into this because there's some things that I was, as it says, in the summer of '99, Heather Donahue, Michael C. Williams, and Joshua Leonard were trapped in a strange sort of limbo. The Blair Witch Project, their debut feature, had exploded out of the Sundance Film Festival that January to become one of the most influential horror movies of the past 25 years. And with a $35,000 budget, one of the most profitable independent films ever made. And yet Donahue was still puttering to her temp job in a 1984 Toyota Celica before it broke down right underneath a billboard with her face on it. Williams' boss kept asking him why he was still moving furniture in Westchester, New York when he was on the cover of Newsweek. And Leonard found himself serving food to his agent at a catering gig days before he appeared on The Tonight Show. So this is what happens to non-union workers, especially in the indie film circuit. I support indie films, but you gotta be careful. They can really screw you over, especially if they are non-union. My agent asked me what the fuck I was doing, Leonard says. I said, you know that I haven't made any money. We were all struggling to pay the rent. As part of the marketing for the film, they were using their real names. The characters in the movie have the names of the three actors who were playing them. And they were not allowed to go to the premiere, and they were admonished for taking other acting jobs because the studio in the marketing wanted to maintain the facade that this was real found footage. These people were really missing, and that's why they were using their real names, and they didn't want them to make public appearances. That's why they weren't invited to the premiere of the movie that they fucking made. Look at this. To commemorate the film breaking $100 million at the domestic box office, Artisan sent each actor a fruit basket. This film made $250 million, and it was made entirely on the work of these three actors. They were filming everything. They were coming up with the dialogue. All of the most memorable moments in the movie, the iconic shot of Heather tearily confessing to the camera in the dead of night, that's the shot everyone knows about from the Blair Witch. That was all her. There was no script writer or director on set telling her to do that. No, she came up with that, and she got nothing for it. That was when it became clear that, wow, we were not going to get anything, Donahue says. We were being cut out of something that we were intimately involved with creating. Even as Blair Witch earned $248 million worldwide, the movie's once-in-a-generation popularity began to feel more like a chokehold. Through online abuse and humiliation, career changes, and lawsuits, it's taken a quarter-century for Donahue, Williams, and Leonards to loosen the bruising grip of Blair Witch on their lives, but they've never quite felt free of it. And I'm not just going to read the whole article, but it goes on to talk about how they weren't consulted when the studio announced that they were going to be doing a reboot of the Blair Witch, even though it sounded like they were going to be using their real names, again, because these characters had their real names, and even though there's like a settlement, because they had gone to court over this before, because they were basically not making anything off of this. And they were still trying to profit off of their image. There was a 2016 Blair Witch movie that was supposed to be focusing on Heather's brother, and like she had to be like, no, you're not going to use my last name. You're not going to use my image to promote this. So I haven't seen the film. I think they just call her Heather, and she's just like off screen or something like that. I could be wrong. I haven't seen it. Yeah, on April 10th, Lionsgate, which acquired Artisan in 2003, revealed at CinemaCon that it was rebooting the Blair Witch Project. Yeah, nobody gave them a heads up. They had no idea it was coming. And this film franchise, because they weren't union at the time, like basically they're working with SAG-AFTRA right now to try and get backdated residuals for the project, because it's made Lionsgate so much money. But because they're not union, basically all they have to go on is expecting a corporation to give money because it's the right thing to do. Without like legal pressure, the only thing that they can do is social pressure. And social pressure historically is not the best way to get a company to part with money they don't want to part with. But it's what we've got. So Lionsgate, I know you're not watching this video, but if you are, pay these people. They made this movie that you're trying to profit off of, okay? The entire found footage horror genre spawned from this movie. And again, the original idea for the film was that they were filming something that was just going to be like 10 minutes out of like a more like traditionally edited mockumentary. And then they ended up deciding, you know what? No, we're just going to have this footage be the whole movie. So they took the contracts that they were offered for an indie film, thinking, whatever, it might be something fun to show to my friends. Nobody's going to see it. It's a small, zero-budget movie. And they got screwed out of pretty much everything. I think eventually they had a settlement where they got like a 5-figure settlement, which is nice, but the movie made $250 million, and they made the movie. So, Lionsgate, pay these people. Hey, thanks for watching. Your view means a lot. Don't forget to toss me a like and subscribe and ring the bell, and drop a comment below telling me what you thought of the video. I stream Mondays and Fridays at 5 p.m. Pacific, so catch me live and join in on the convo. You can find all my socials in the description below, and thank you to all my patrons, with a very special shout out to my Whale Shark tier patrons Ms. Milena and Hella Vetrum, and my Anemone Friend tier patron Piptal Cakes. Your support means the world. Catch you next time.